Ladies and gentlemen, yes, this is your favorite show, Sports Unfolded, with your favorite hosts, Eric and Ron.
Hey, sports fans! Welcome to the best sports podcast on the planet, Sports Unfolded, where we cover all of the top stories that are going on in the world of sports. I am your host, Eric.
Look,
Man right over there, Ron.
typical Lakers messing up the graphics.
Yeah, it's not even our leadoff story, so that's kind of crazy.
Wait, it's not?
There was a change that maybe you didn't see.
Oh, I apparently did not see it.
All right. Ron, how are you tonight?
Apparently not well.
Yes. So, before we get started, let's thank some of those fine people out there that have helped continue to help us grow. WDJY 99.1 FM in Dallas, Georgia. Thank you for your support, as well as 990 WBOB in Providence, Rhode Island, and SEC TV, Public Access Channel 12 on every Tuesday night at 10 p.m. Thank you for your support in Southeast Connecticut. We are live and we are fan interactive. So please, if you are joining us live, join the chat. Let us know what you think. If you have an opinion or just want to talk about something, let us know. And we will definitely make sure that we continue to add you to the show. But with that, Ron, if you're ready to get this party started,
okay.
I'm ready to get this party started.
Yeah, I didn't see that.
Okay. Yeah. So we're going to go with our leadoff story, and that's one Mr. Greg Popovich. He's moving on to the front office of the San Antonio Spurs. Your thoughts on his coaching career? I'm going to have a little do you know in this as well, Ron. So we'll have a little fun with this.
All right. Well, first off, it's different. I mean, he's been a fixture for so long. And I mean, when they went 22 years in a row for the playoffs, that's pretty incredible. Not too many teams can sustain that long. They happen to be fortunate and had, maybe, the Admiral for quite a stretch. That's pretty fortunate. And then really getting fortunate with Tim Duncan.
Yeah. So again, the injuries, right? Robinson got hurt. Tim Duncan ends up being the number one pick because they had a bad season, and the rest is history. You were right. He had some great players. Tim Duncan, David Robinson, Manu Ginobili, one of those we talked about coming from
the point guard there from
overseas,
France.
Tony Parker. Tony Parker,
yes.
Right? So a lot of great players that he had. Got lucky again. Wemby looks like he may be a legitimate player at some point, depending on what they get. Mitch Johnson's going to replace Greg Popovich. He was their interim coach while Craig Popovich went out with the health issues this past season. Went 31-45, but a lot of injuries. Wemby was out. De'Aaron Fox ended up going out towards the end of the season as well. They have a foundation, Ron, right? You think he left them in a pretty good spot.
Yeah. He left them in a very good spot, to be honest with you. And especially when you think what Chris Paul brought to the table. I mean, the veteran point guard, like he is a true point guard. And having that experience with Wemby,
So I went Wemby, man. It's a lot easier.
I mean, that's a lot of knowledge to give a young star. And I mean, I would hope that Chris Paul would run it back next year because of the injury issues for the team, and give it another shot to see what that could do, for a full season, and see if they can do something, because I think that team is right on the doorstep.
Yeah, the players are there, right? And again, depending, a lot of talk about Giannis. Who knows? Maybe they make
Oh
a
my
push.
God, that wouldn't even be fair, to be honest with you.
And that might be an opportunity there that gets you immediately back into the postseason and possibly a championship. So Greg Popovich, 29 years as the
Yeah, did he say why?
I think the health reasons really pushed it
Gotta
over the
be.
top. You think about, him even trying to come back. There was some issues again that he had. So, but listen to these numbers, Ron: 1,422 wins, 869 losses, a 621 winning percentage,
That's not bad.
170 and 114 in the postseason. So a 59% winning percentage. 3-time coach of the year, 5-time champion, 1 gold medal with the 2020 Olympics in Tokyo, and was elected into the Basketball Hall of Fame in 2023. So the accolades are there. He's probably at least in the top 3 NBA coaches of all time.
Has to be.
So we wanted to have a little fun run. Little do you
Okay.
know, my friend.
Oh, I hope I know.
Currently, Greg Popovich, all-time winningest head coach in NBA history with 1,422 victories. Danny, what's up, my man? Welcome. Sam Cassell might be an interesting one too. We're going to talk a little bit about the Lakers later on in the show, Danny. So stay tuned for that. So 1,422 wins for Greg Popovich. Do you know, Ron? 3 head coaches active with the most wins. So the 3 coaches with the most wins that are active now that Greg Popovich is no longer coaching. Thank you, Danny.
Oh, wow. That's a good question. I'm gonna what's his name from Miami there?
Eric Spoelstra, he is 3rd,
Spoelstra.
787 wins. Eric Spoelstra.
I'm scanning through. Well, is Jeff Van Gundy the head coach now?
No, he is not a coach.
What is he doing for
nothing?
Is he just like a?
He's like an advisor. He's
an
like
advisor?
an advisor. Yeah, he's
so
not.
He's really the head coach. I would probably. Oh my God, I don't want to say it, but I'm gonna say Doc Rivers.
Doc Rivers is number 1 with 1,175 victories.
I don't know how the hell he's done that.
Isn't that incredible to think about?
He's a terrible head coach, to be honest with you. Terrible. And so I got 2 of them right now.
2 of
so
the 3.
Let me see if I can come up with the other one.
Steve Kerr, Danny says Steve Kerr is not one of the top 3 active wins leaders currently in the NBA. Good guess, though, Danny. Very good guess.
That is a good guess, because that's probably where I was going. So I'm glad you said it first and got it wrong, and now I got a chance to get it right. God, I don't want to say it because I know there's somebody I'm leaving out that's glaring. But I'm gonna say Bickerstaff.
No. Rick Carlisle, 993 wins. So Doc Rivers, Rick Carlisle, and Eric Spoelstra are now the current leaders for most wins in the NBA as a head coach.
I knew I was forgetting somebody.
So, Ron, another do you know, though, my friend? There are 2 coaches that are ahead of Greg Popovich for all-time playoff wins.
All-time playoff wins.
All-time playoff wins. Greg Popovich has 170 playoff wins. There are 2 coaches who have more playoff victories than Greg Popovich. Who are the 2 coaches?
One has to be Red Auerbach.
It is not.
It is not.
It's
got to be a Celtic. Could it be? Wait, wasn't he a player head coach? So it's got to be Bill Russell.
It is not.
It's not.
No.
Then it's got to be the dude in Miami there. What's his face? Pat Riley.
Pat Riley, 171 victories, so one ahead of Greg Popovich. One glaring one that you're missing. Thank you, Danny. Got it.
It's got to be Phil.
Danny got it. Phil Jackson with 229
nice
victories.
job, Jan. Nice job, Danny. No, you actually, that was actually pretty impressive that you guessed Steve Kerr.
Yeah.
Because I would have thought that was for sure.
So who is the active coach currently with the most playoff victories?
I would say it has to be Holstra. He's been there a while.
Spoelstra from Miami?
I always say Holstra.
Not, believe it or not, it's Doc Rivers with 114 victories. Believe it or not, as bad as he is in the postseason, he has the most wins currently active coaches.
It's got to be the most overrated coach ever.
But you got to admit, Greg Popovich, what a career. And you think about some of the guys that you even mentioning that weren't on this list that he's passed I'm
surprised Red Auerbach is not on there somewhere.
Yeah. You know? Honestly, I would say this too, Ron. I think it's probably the best timing. The Spurs haven't been to the postseason in 6 straight seasons. So you saw the downward trend, and you'd hate to see him go out where it's something where he got fired. He got to go out on his own, move up to the, president of operations.
Would have ever fired him.
Yeah, it would have been tough, though, at some point. Look, I don't think Bill Belichick ever thought he was going to get fired either. And, at some point, those things happen.
Yeah, but, I mean, just the way San Antonio operates, you don't – it just doesn't – it's just not them.
Yeah. It's kind of crazy.
When you have a good coach, it's up to the players to adjust. That's the way they look at it, I think.
And the thing you think about it too, like, yes, he had some great players. We talked about David Robinson and we talked about Tim Duncan, probably 2 of the best at their positions, definitely a top 5. I think you got to realize what he was able to create, though. Like the Manu Ginobili's weren't known. Tony Parker's weren't known, right? Robert Horry was part of some of his teams. Like these are guys that weren't, household number 1 picks, and he turned them into championship players. And you got to give him credit for that.
It was a little more than just the talent.
Yeah, great coach.
Because when you stop putting up those teams against teams in history, you look at them as like, wow, they were such a great team. And then you try to pinpoint all these players, and I was doing it with the New York Knicks.
Yeah.
And we'll get to that later, but it's like, wow, they had a squad.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of crazy.
That was not what you thought of when you looked at the roster for the Spurs. Like, they had a couple of great players, but it wasn't like, wow, look at this team.
Yeah. I don't think Rick Carlisle is going anywhere. Danny, I cannot see Indiana giving up on him. He's done such a good job with that team.
They're not getting rid of JJ Redick.
Yeah, and I don't think so either. And we'll talk about that. But Sam Cassell should be a head coach. So I think that'll happen at some point. I just don't think it'll be with the Lakers. All right, great opening discussion, Ron. But let's talk some NFL. And the big story that came out of the NFL draft was this prank call situation. Do you think the NFL handled this properly or did enough with this?
I don't even. What are they supposed to do?
So they basically provide the teams with the phone numbers of the players,
right?
For the draft. My issue is this, Ron. So they fined the Atlanta Falcons $250,000, and Jeff Ulbrich, whose son was the one that made the prank calls, $100,000.
It was his son?
Yes. It was his son, 21 years old, found the iPad with the information, ended up, calling Shedeur Sanders. He called Abdul Carter, and he made one other phone
I didn't
call.
know there was other players that were called.
So there was 3 that I've heard of. So here's my issue. $100,000. Jeff Ulbrich makes $1.6 million as a defensive coordinator. I would suspend him based on the fact that, again, that's information that should not have been in anyone else's hands. The Atlanta Falcons last year, as an organization, basically were valued at $5.2 billion. Not million, billion. You find them $250,000. Like this kid went through and didn't get drafted till the 5th round. The fact that you're okay with allowing this is like a slap on the wrist where another kid next year, you don't think he tries to upstage this or do it better, because that's what you've created now. You've not made it where I've got to make sure I protect this information, and I've got to make sure that it's not going to get into the wrong hands, because there's going to be severe penalties. A draft pick. Pull a draft pick from the Falcons.
Well, that's what I was going to say. $100,000 is a drop in a bucket, and my guess, the team actually paid it. I don't think that came from, from the pocket of a defensive coordinator. That did not come from him. That came from the Falcons ownership. They paid for it. And wow, how bad are you at handling things when your son gets a hold of all the information?
Yeah.
And frankly, that's inexcusable. I mean, I would consider firing the coach.
That's what I'm saying. Like, something has to happen where,
but
the next
$100,000, Eric, $100,000 is chump change,
and
for
then $250,000 for the team. Like, what does that do for a team that's valued over $5.2 billion?
That should have been a draft pick right there. Should be a draft pick. Sorry, Atlanta, but that's the way it is. I mean, it should have been a draft pick.
Yeah, they need to prevent this from worse. Yeah, they needed to prevent this from happening again, so somebody doesn't just leave their iPad around or some of this information.
That's irresponsible,
right? And now you're basically saying you don't think. Again, we know everything's copycat. Like, everybody tries to upstage it or want to do it better. So the next one, who knows? And with AI today, they can change the voice. They could make it sound like, a coach or somebody. Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm sure that hurt his draft status, Danny, without a doubt. I mean, I'm sure that hurt his draft status. A lot of teams stayed away from him just based on
there's a lot of things that hurt his draft status.
But again, regardless of what he did, I don't think he deserved that phone call. I don't think the league should allow it to possibly happen again.
I think he didn't get drafted because he tried showing up the NFL.
Exactly. He basically every interview that he had, he tried to sandbag it. If he didn't want to go to that team, he didn't take it seriously. So again, there's a lot of factors in that.
Yeah.
But I think the NFL really had an opportunity to say, hey, look, this is not going to be allowed. If that information gets put out, you're going to lose draft picks. You're going to lose, games. You're going to they're going to make sure that these coaches, executives protect this information, because it's bound to happen again.
Should have been a first rounder? No. Second rounder? Yes, definitely.
Yeah, something better should have happened. Something more should have happened.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Again, we'll see if next year we get a bigger scenario, and then the NFL has to do something different. But
I mean, interesting. Why are coordinators getting the numbers?
Yeah, I don't.
Shouldn't it be just those war rooms?
Yeah,
it should be
that's
just
how I
in there.
Yeah, I have no idea how he got it.
You shouldn't even release the numbers until draft day. Have it waiting there for the owners,
the
to
executives
give it to who is drafted.
Yeah, that's it. I agree 100%. 100%.
All right, Ron.
We're going to have some fun with our starting five. Our starting five tonight. We're going to give you our starting five New York Knicks of all time. I am first this week, so yes, Danny. Yeah.
This was a
So
good one.
a lot of good players, right? And you think about, I kind of changed it as I kept going, and I'm, looking at certain factors. But we start off with our honorable mentions. I have three. MD, welcome, thank you. Carmelo Anthony.
Is he a doctor?
Carmelo Anthony, no. Carmelo Anthony.
Why are they saying hi to you and not me? That's
John,
not right. That's
thank
rude.
you. Thank you. We appreciate that. Thank you. John Starks, also my honorable mention, leads the team all time in 3-pointers. And you think about it, back in the 90s, that wasn't
Wait,
the
who was
game.
the one before John?
Carmelo Anthony. I put him in there. And Jalen Brunson is an honorable mention. I think he's climbing. And if we did this list in another year or two, he'd probably be in the starting 5. But currently not in my starting 5. So those are my 3 honorable mentions.
Okay. I have some honorable mentions. John Starks would be an honorable mention.
Okay.
I have Charles Oakley as an honorable mention.
I thought about it. Oak's not bad.
Well, he did average a double-double in New York.
And he's their all-time, I think it was offensive rebounding.
Yeah, and 2 all-defensive titles, too.
No, I could say.
So I put him in there.
Yeah.
A little love for the Oak.
Okay, the Oak man.
I also have Earl Monroe.
Ooh, okay.
Earl Monroe.
All right.
I do have Jalen Brunson as an honorable mention.
Okay. Right, fair. I think he hasn't done enough yet in New York, but you're seeing it.
I think another year, to be honest with you.
He's clutch, man. That shot against Detroit.
Wow.
Nasty crossover.
Good.
That crossover was just, he scares me in this Boston series.
And my bubble guy was Bernard King. And I got a feeling you've got him in there.
Believe it or not, I do not. I do not.
Okay.
I do not have Bernard King.
He was
Got
my
another
bubble guy.
another great player. All right. Danny has Stephon Marbury. Marbury would be an honorable mention. I could see that. Starberry. Yeah, he wasn't bad.
I didn't even have him on my list at all.
At 5 for me, we'll start it off with our number 5. My number 5, not great numbers, but what he did for them in the 90s, I thought was crucial for them to be for their success. I went Mark Jackson, all-time assists per game leader, 8 assists, 1 All-Star, and Rookie of the Year with the Knicks. So he came out in those first 3 years he was with New York. Definitely was an impact player.
I like it.
Mark Jackson, number 5 for me.
Yeah, he's a very good player. Very good. I have Dave DeBusschere.
Okay.
Dave DeBusschere. Let me see. He played 435 games, 16 points, 10.7 boards, 3.1 assists. So he averaged a double-double for the Knicks. 5-time All-Star, 5-time All-Defensive with the Knicks.
Not bad at all.
And then, of course, 2 championships. And that's why I referred to the other comment. They had a squad.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I would definitely want him on the all-time Knick at number 5.
Okay. All right. All right. At number 4 for me, I had Bob McAdoo. First all-time in points per game. 26.7. So points per game, number 1 in New York Knicks history, a 1-time All-Star. So I gave him the nod because of the points per game and being the number 1.
Yeah, 26.7 with the Knicks is crazy. I just didn't put him in at all because to me, he just didn't have enough games. I would have liked to see at least 200 games. And I looked at the numbers and they're better. But then I couldn't put him in just because.
That's why we do this, my friend. We're gonna we usually have a different starting 5. So who do you have at number 4?
Talent-wise, the man was talented.
Yeah. Yes. Agreed.
At number 4, I actually went Carmelo Anthony. And for a guy that didn't have a championship, I mean, when you look at his numbers, 24.7 points per game, 7 rebounds per game, 3.2 assists, 6-time All-Star, 2-time All-NBA, and a scoring title. There's only 2 guys that had scoring titles for the Knicks on these lists, and the other one was Bernard King.
Yeah. No, listen, Carmelo was a scorer.
He
Pure
was
scorer,
he
man.
had
He was
talent.
yeah, he did. I agree.
He just couldn't get him to the promised land. So
Yeah.
he's there at number 4.
All right. I like it. At number 3 for me, Willis Reed. Willis Reed, second in rebounds per game all time at 12.9, third in points, a 7-time All-Star with the Knicks, 5-time All-NBA, 1-time All-Defensive. He won an MVP with the Knicks. Rookie of the Year. They have a lot of Rookie of the Years, which is kind of crazy. And obviously the 2 championships. So Willis Reed at number 3 for me.
Yeah, at number 3, look, I know you're probably going to have him at number 1, but Patrick Ewing is at number 3 for me. Look, if you want to be the best of a franchise, you have to win a championship. And I will make the perfect comparison. To me, Ted Williams, probably the best talented player the Red Sox ever saw, never won a championship. He doesn't get the number 1 spot. Ray Bork, same thing with the Bruins, not the top spot. Sorry, got to win a championship.
Don't hate the player, hate the game. I don't agree with that, but okay.
I totally. You need to bring home a championship in order to be the best of a franchise.
Okay.
I'm sorry, you just have to.
All right.
So Patrick Ewing, I have at number 3. You know, I mean, all the numbers are there. 11-time All-Star, 7-time All-NBA,
Yeah.
3-time All-Defense. Look, those numbers are great. 21 points, 9.8 boards. The numbers are great, but you didn't bring one home, and you have to.
I can't agree with that, but that's all right. That's why we do these. All right. So at number 2 for me, I had Walt Frazier, all-time leader in assists, triple doubles, 7-time All-Star, 6-time All-NBA, 7-time All-Defensive, and a 2-time champion. Those 70s Knicks were amazing. Willis Reed, Walt Frazier, what a group.
That was a squad.
Yeah, what a group. So that's who I had at number 2, Walt Frazier.
Yeah, I have Walt Frazier at number 2 as well, Eric. And, 19.3 points, 6.1 boards, 6.3 assists as well. So he did a lot of everything. 7 All-Stars and 6 All-NBA, 7-time All-Defense, and 2 championships. Now, what I looked at, besides those 2 championships that are glaring over Patrick Ewing, is that Patrick Ewing played 15 seasons. Walt Frazier played 10 for the Knicks, and he only had 1 All-NBA less and 4 All-Stars less.
Mm-hmm.
But that All-NBA means a lot, and those 2 championships, that's what vaulted him over Patrick Ewing.
I'll give you okay. So at number 1 for me is Patrick Ewing, and I will say again,
that's why I put him on your side.
When we talk about longevity.
Yes, and that is a factor too.
Most games in Knicks history, most minutes in Knicks history, most field goals in Knicks history, most rebounds, most blocks, and most steals. Patrick Ewing leads in all those categories.
Yes.
11-time All-Star, 7-time All-NBA, 3-time All-Defensive, and again, another Rookie of the Year. And I will say this: he ran into the horse of the stallion of Michael Jordan.
Glad you said that, Eric. I'm glad you said that, because he does lead in everything. But isn't that the same when we talk about LeBron versus Jordan? He leads in everything except for what it matters.
Yeah. So if we're going an all-time Mount Rushmore of the NBA, I'd put Michael ahead of LeBron. Absolutely.
Right. And that's
What,
why
what,
I'm saying here, it's like Patrick Ewing. Yes, he has all those numbers, and I get that.
but just strictly
But
for a
I'm looking
franchise,
at
I'm going to
that
look at.
window,
Yeah.
and he just didn't
I
get a championship, and he needed to get one. Really, he should have.
I talked about this with someone again. We talk about Peyton
Shame.
Manning. Peyton Manning, amazing, but again, ran into Tom Brady. Like you get those
Yeah.
revolutionary players that just
Absolutely.
change everything, and so unfortunately, a lot of these
It
guys
is
don't win.
unfortunate, and there was a
Stockton and
lot of
Malone
great
are probably
players.
the best combo point guard, power forward in the history of the NBA.
Yeah, but I think Ewing's a better dude than Malone.
Yeah, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying is realistically,
Malone might not have deserved one.
they could have won
and
one.
Stockton just happened to be on his team,
Yeah.
so the karma was there.
I'm saying is they could have won one, but unfortunately,
Yes.
again, you face somebody that's gonna
Yes.
take that out. But so number one, I'm gonna assume you have Willis Reed.
I have Willis Reed. It was time, and I remember doing something about the Knicks not too long ago, and I actually had Walt Frazier ahead. And I changed my mind after really analyzing the numbers. Willis Reed, 18.7 points, 12.9 boards. He averaged a double-double while being an effective scorer as well. And then I looked at, 7-time All-Star, 5-time All-NBA, and it's only one All-Defensive as opposed to Walt Frazier's 7. But, he did have those 2 final MVPs.
Yeah.
And an MVP. And that pushed him over
I could say it.
Walt Frazier for me. So,
yeah.
But when I look at this, if I'm going to start a Knick team, I want Willis Reed, I want Walt Frazier, and I want Patrick Ewing on this team because you're not going to lose. You're not going to lose.
No, they had listen, some great players, really good
Unless
players.
You go up against the Celtics, then you're going to lose.
Yeah, which is a great segue because we're going to talk about these New York Knicks of 2025 and can they compete with the Boston Celtics in this upcoming series? If you think about where this organization was a year ago to today, they tried to build a squad that could compete against Boston. Picked up Mikal Bridges, Karl Anthony Towns, right? OG Anunoby was brought in last year with Jalen Brunson. They haven't had much success in the past 2 seasons. 1-8 in the last 9 games against Boston. Swept this season, 4-0 for Boston. But could that change, Ron? Is there something we saw in the Detroit Pistons series that maybe makes it more interesting?
The only thing I saw was Jalen Brunson, and I don't think the problem I have with the Knicks is that Detroit is not the Celtics.
I agree with that.
And they did not blow them out.
They didn't blow them out in any game. Every game was single digits. But I will say this. Do you not look at it and say, if I'm playing Orlando or I'm playing Detroit, I was challenged more with Detroit. That prepares me more for Boston than Boston is prepared for New York.
It kind of does. But I just look, Karl Anthony Towns needs to play far better than what he did in the series. And he was pretty decent. But he was in foul trouble almost the entire way. I mean, he fouled out of the last game. He fouled out. They had to win it without him. And they did. If he's going to bring that game against the Celtics, it's going to be bad again for the Knicks. And they need more than that. They need everybody else to step up. And I just don't see it. What I see from the Knicks is 2 years down the road. 2 years down the road, the Knicks will be the best team in the East. And I'm going to tell you why. Because the Celtics are not going to be together next year. Telling you. There may still be a couple of them there, but they're going to have to break that team up because they're going to lose money. They're going to lose money if they keep it all together because that salary is too high for them to actually make money. And they're going to start getting rid of some pieces. And I think Porzingis will be the first one. And possibly Holiday. They're not going to keep them together. I don't think that they'll break up completely.
Yeah.
But I think the way the Knicks did it, they did it for
another year or
a couple of years from now.
I see that. Here's another concern you got to look at, though, from Boston's standpoint. Jaylen Brown with the knee injury. Drew Holiday out with the hamstring the last 3 games. Porzingis is, one stub toe from being out. I don't know. So I think if the Knicks can get lucky where Boston's injuries become a factor, they have enough talent to win. But again, they're going to need all those pieces to fall, or those dominoes to fall in that order.
Yeah, look, Brunson has impressed me. Like, he was impressive last year.
Yeah.
Last year doesn't even touch how impressive he is this year. Like, he's spectacular. I mean, he's playing so great.
Yeah.
But he's going to run into the buzzsaw, and
so
sorry, it's just not going to work out.
So I would ask you this, though. When we talk about clutch players in a series, we would assume Jason Tatum for Boston, Jalen Brunson for the Knicks. If you're looking at just that matchup, I have more confidence in Jalen Brunson stepping up and hitting a big shot to win the series than I do Jason Tatum, if that makes sense. Like,
no,
if
it
New
does
York
make
could
sense.
keep it close, I would be worried with Jalen Brunson.
They have to go into the fourth quarter close.
Yeah.
If it's not close, it's over. And you're absolutely right. I do have more confidence in Brunson hitting the shot than I do Tatum. Not saying I don't have confidence that he can do that. But what the problem is, Tatum doesn't have to take the shot because you have guys like Derek White. You have Jaylen Brown. You have Drew Holiday. You have Al Horford, who always hits big shots.
What clutch
Double
means?
P, Porzingis. They have these guys that can take the shots, and they have so much poise when they're doing it.
Yeah. So clutch. So Jalen Brunson was voted the NBA clutch player of the year. Clutch is when big shot, need to either tie, win a game. Danny, that person's going to perform at that level. You think of Kobe with the Lakers. Yeah, you knew if he was taking the final shot, 7 out of 10 times he's making it, because that's just who he was. He would hit those shots regardless of the moment. So that's what clutch would be. But good question, Danny. So let's move on and talk about this Western Conference in the Los Angeles Lakers. So they've been eliminated from the postseason. Who do you blame for their first round exit, Ron? Wrong one. Wrong graphic, buddy. That was the one you should have.
That's right. It's on the man, I didn't put up the graphic for them. But
you do have it. It was on the leadoff.
Yeah, I know it's on the leadoff.
Put it up. It's fine. There you go.
Look, this might not be a popular opinion. This might not be the popular opinion. And you would not expect it coming from me. It was not LeBron James' fault.
No, not at all.
It was not Luka's fault. This, to me, was squarely on JJ Redick's inexperience.
See,
and I'm going to tell you why.
You start.
Because, yes, I get all the talk about Luka and not being in shape and all that stuff. I get it. Okay. He's a liability defensively. Yes, I get that too. But here's the problem with everything. When you are getting beat on the boards that ugly with Gobert
Mm-hmm.
and Randall,
Yeah.
like they just ate up the Lakers and not making an adjustment and pulling a guy off the bench that is very capable of defending, and that being Jackson, whatever his name is. What's his name? The hell's his name? Jackson Hayes. He's got the size, and yes, he might not be dominating like Gobert, but what he's going to do, he's going to make at least part of the game closer, so that way they can actually get some boards, because if they're losing by 3 or 4, late, that's the difference in the game. You need to get a guy that is defensively capable of playing, and he refused to take him off the bench. I don't know what his problem was. Maybe he, didn't like something that he does. Maybe he has a nervous tick. I don't know. I don't know what the problem is, but he should have been in that lineup, so that way it like at least lessens the blow of those bad rebounding, and like they're wide open under the net. Wide open. You can't do that. You can't play like that and think that you're going to get through to the next round when you've got so much space under there. And Jackson would have been able to at least sustain enough to give them a push, but they refused to do it. And his excuse was, we wouldn't have any offense. That's BS. You still have James and Luka. You still have Reeves, and you still have Hachimura, whatever his name is.
So Rui Hachimura played okay. Austin Reeves did not play well in this series.
No, he did not.
And this is where I don't blame JJ Redick. You know what I want to see people say? How about we talk about what Minnesota was able to do? They were able to, right?
Yes.
Impose their size, right?
Exactly.
Which they were bigger than the Lakers. Even if the Lakers wanted to make a switch, they weren't going to have the size to compete with Minnesota. So you could look at Rob Pelinka and what he's picked up and say, okay, they really need to get a big man. That would be an important piece for them.
Absolutely.
And I will say this. Let's look at the growth of Anthony Edwards and what he was able to do. He was taking on LeBron and showing like this league, it's now our turn. LeBron, you've had your time.
Yes.
Right? Great career. You've done so much. He didn't back down from LeBron in a minute.
No,
he was coming at him.
That's, that goes without saying. Definitely Minnesota played so well. They did everything right. But the inexperience, and again, I'm not saying that they should get rid of JJ Redick, because he did a pretty damn good job as a rookie coach.
But you got to look at the assistants. He has assistants, and they won 50 games, and they were third in the. So inexperience wasn't a factor. It wasn't his coaching. I don't think it was his coaching.
The fact that he just left a guy on a bench to rot, and he should have been in that lineup to start. I know they were going small, but you can't ask LeBron James to play 90% of the game and still have to cover these guys that are rebounders. That's not the best use of LeBron James.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, it's just not.
Agreed. Out rebounded. The Minnesota created so many turnovers. I still don't think 25 games was enough for Luka. I don't think he was fully healthy either.
No,
I don't think he ever recovered.
That's why I'm not blaming Luka. I'm not blaming, LeBron. It's look, inexperienced coach. I get that. He's going to learn from this. And, JJ Redick will be a good coach for this team. And they will go out and get somebody that can rebound and be the muscle in there. And it doesn't have to be a big guy. That's why they should have put Jackson Hayes in there. Jackson Hayes played 8 minutes, 9 minutes, 9 minutes, 4 minutes, and then he didn't play in the last game, and you needed that rebounding, at least somebody that can contend.
Yeah, what did Rudy Gobert, 27 and 24 in the last game? Like,
it's inexcusable.
That was crazy.
You have to swallow your pride and put the guy that you don't want in there.
You know, the funny thing is, Danny's turning on LeBron now and all that. Like, listen, I don't think you've got to appreciate what LeBron was able to do at his age.
This is what I'm saying.
To say that he played an entire second half, which no team they said had done since like 1997. No. The man's 40 years old.
Exactly. He's what
been
my
playing
point
basketball in the NBA since he was 19. Like, he's played 21 years of basketball, and he's still probably one of the best athletes on that court every single night. Don't blame LeBron. Luka needs to get in shape. JJ kind of said a little bit without saying it, right?
I have no problem with him saying that.
So, and then
He's gonna light a fire under his butt.
And I think, listen, if they know what they have with LeBron and Luka, you do not be surprised if Giannis Antetokounmpo ends up in LA. I would not be shocked.
I would not be shocked either.
And that'll give them their one final push to try to win one more with LeBron. Stay tuned.
There could be somebody moving to there. You watch.
But I agree with you on one aspect. Listen, you win 50 games in the NBA. It's not easy to do. We just talked about all these other coaches.
No. And this is why.
Don't say
I'm not calling for his job.
Yeah, but I would also say this. He had enough experience. He coached 82 games.
You got beat by a better team.
That's what happened. The Minnesota Timberwolves were hungrier. They wanted. Anthony Edwards wanted to take the next step. He saw LeBron as being the person he's got to get through.
That's the team that we were supposed to see last year.
We saw this so many times. Think about it with the Celtics to the Pistons to the Bulls, right? Then the Lakers come along, right? Because every team wanted to get through somebody.
This is why I don't think OKC and Houston are ready yet. They haven't experienced what Minnesota has.
And think about it with, you said it, the Rocket series with the Warriors, right?
Yeah.
They're down in that series, and they shouldn't be because they are more talented.
Yeah, it's just.
But again, it's
you
just
have to
sometimes
go through it.
You got to get through it. So great NBA talk.
That's it. That was a great segment.
That was
awesome because it's like I get so worked up about the LeBron thing, and then. And it just goes to show how we do it here. We look at things objectively, whether it's our team or not, and the deep hate I have for the Lakers is there, but
pipe dreams, Danny. There's no way Bonchero's going to Orlando. Is not. He is by far way too important to the Orlando Magic. I can tell you, Giannis is almost a strong possibility. If I was putting numbers on it, I'd say 70% chance. Like, I'm almost that confident that that's going to be the first shoe to drop there. I don't think it's, again, not healthy. It's not going to help.
I know. Just saying. Just saying.
All right, Ron, let's talk some Major League Baseball. Which injury will affect his team more, Mike Trout or Giancarlo Stanton? Both out. I am shocked that Mike Trout is out again, surprisingly. But he is not having a good year. Mike Trout, 29 games, 106 at-bats. He's batting a 179, 19 hits, 9 home runs, and 18 RBIs.
All right. So when you posted this as the topic for baseball, I nearly laughed to death. Because I'm like, okay, here we go again. Right? All right. So clearly it is the Yankees that are going to be more affected because the Angels are already used to Trout being out every year.
Yeah.
So that's a non-factor to me. So we can just take Trout and just push him aside. Because
I would agree with you.
Done.
They're 12 and 18. They're 6 games back. They're in last in the West, the AL West. So, Mike Trout isn't going to affect them going to the postseason because, again, he's
No.
not even having a great season.
Right.
The Yankees are going to need Stanton to be available
Exactly.
for the postseason.
Yeah,
And again,
because
it's very competitive,
yeah.
right? Like Boston's playing well, Toronto's playing well, Baltimore, right? Like the Rays always are somehow in it.
Yeah, I don't understand how they do it.
That East is going to be a juggernaut. They're going to beat each other up. Those teams, you're going to need players like this to be involved. He batted 233 last year,
right?
27 home runs, 72 RBIs. You're taking that out of the lineup. Mike Trout does need to retire. I think.
Yes, you're
Danny,
absolutely 100% right.
I think we've just gotten to a point like
Danny, I'll tell you, since you've been watching this show, today has been your most impressive day. Your most impressive day, because you're bringing the comments that are right spot on.
Nailing it, Danny. Yeah, I think we've just gotten to a point like this guy is never going to play a full season ever again.
No.
And unfortunately, because it's guaranteed contracts, I'm sure he'll just continue to play. Oh, wow. Okay. Wow. So the whole West Coast, a lot of California there, Danny. So
yeah, I just
we both agree Stanton.
Yankees, they could be in trouble if he's out a while.
Yeah, he's already on the 60-day
situation with him.
He's 60-day IL already.
Already 60 days. So this is really long term.
Yeah. You're looking at all-star break after.
Yeah.
If he comes back. Hey, Ron agrees. Yeah, Danny. I feel like we're making history here. Peace amongst Danny and Ron. See? It takes one step and we'll get there. All right, Ron, let's have some more fun. Let's talk some split decisions. Our split decision segment, basically, we give each other two more likely questions, and we have to make a decision and stick with it. So I am first, Ron, this week, so I will start us off. Ron, which Eastern Conference semifinal matchup is more likely to go 7 games? The Pacers versus the Cavs or the Knicks versus the Celtics?
Cavs and Pacers. I think 5 for the Knicks and the Celtics, because the Celtics will win the first 2 games, then they'll lose 1, and then they'll win the next 2, like they've done for like every series
the last 2
for 2 years now.
Yeah, they haven't been in a 6th game in the past 2 seasons.
Yeah. So, I mean, so just with those stats alone and how one-sided it was against the Knicks, I think the Knicks will win 1 game. They could possibly win 2, but I doubt it. I think Indiana could be a problem for
I agree.
for Cleveland.
They have some.
And I'm not sure Cleveland comes out of this.
Yeah, no, I could see that. Danny agrees with you. The Pacers series.
Okay, we're just agreeing way too much now.
Yeah, I know. Rick Carlisle. He wants Rick Carlisle. He wants him to the Lakers. All right, Ron, your first split decision.
All right. Let me see. Where is Amari Cooper more likely to sign? Dallas Cowboys, Las Vegas Raiders, New York Jets, or Buffalo Bills?
Without knowing the salary cap situation, I could see. I don't think he did really well with Buffalo.
He did not.
So I don't know if he'd want to go back to Buffalo. I could see Dallas being the best possibility for Amari Cooper. Had his most success. He's got a good relationship already with Dak. So that would make sense. I just don't know financially. So again, I don't see him wanting to go to Vegas. They're in a semi-rebuild. And who was the other team?
New York Jets.
Yeah, and I can't. I don't think he'd want to go to New York. I could see it being Dallas. I think Dallas would be the most likely landing spot. Yep, Dallas all the way. I'm surprised, Danny, you would pick Dallas. Yeah, so I agree with that one though.
See, I did this question because I knew Danny would be on today, so I had a feeling you were going to say Dallas as well. I mean, I think these four are probably the more logical of the teams that he signs with.
Yeah, no, I think Dallas. Yeah. All right, Ron. My second split decision. Is it more likely Aaron Judge, who's currently batting .427, finishes the season batting above 400, at 400, or below 400?
Below 400.
Wow, no faith. It's on fire. 427 already.
Yeah, but come on.
Pretty damn impressive. Next one in
427. You know how hard that is.
Goldschmidt's at 355.
I know. I told you he'd be a good player for them, right?
So I'm saying is think about this is a tear right now that he could possibly finish over 400 because he's always been predominantly a good batter.
He might hit 375 for the year, though.
All right, the two of you
I can see that.
You two might as well get a room together after this, all right? I mean, geez, today. All right, Danny agrees with you, Ron, below 400. Okay. All right, yes.
Man, I wish he was in Boston.
Your second split decision.
All right, my second one. All right. Peter Laviolette was fired as Rangers head coach this season. Where is he more likely to be hired? Boston Bruins, Pittsburgh Penguins, Vancouver Canucks, or Anaheim Mighty Ducks?
Yes, Danny, and below. Really Ron agreed with you. Below. He said below 400.
I'm still upset that the Bruins didn't try to get Mike Sullivan.
So tell me again, he got fired from?
He got fired from the Rangers.
And
Mike Sullivan is now there.
So I can see them just doing the flip. He's going to Pittsburgh.
Boston Bruins, Pittsburgh Penguins, which is where Mike Sullivan was.
Yeah.
Anaheim or Vancouver.
I think he's going to
There are other job openings, but
I think he's going to Pittsburgh.
You think he's going to Pittsburgh?
I think they'll just do the swap thing.
Yeah, I'm not so sure about that. I think he might end up in Anaheim, believe it or not.
Danny used to hang out with Nolan Ryan. James Worthy, Nolan Ryan. Danny, you're all right, buddy. Wow. That's kind of crazy.
That's impressive.
That is. All right, Ron. Let's talk some NHL. So can head coach Mike Sullivan return the Rangers to the Stanley Cup?
This is interesting, okay? I think there's a lot of similarities between the Rangers and the Bruins. The only difference was the direction they went at trade deadline. Bruins got rid of everybody,
and the
Rangers kept moving forward.
Yep.
The problem I have with it is I just see them having to do what the Bruins did this year, next year. Because I don't think it's fixed. I don't think it's fixable because I just don't think the players mesh well.
Yeah, I don't. So I looked at it this way, Ron. I'm not confident that Sullivan can create a championship culture. He hasn't been able to do it in Pittsburgh. I know they were an aging team, but they still had quality players, and he still wasn't able to get over that hump. Last season, going 34, 36, and 12, a 48 win percentage wouldn't cut it. It doesn't scream success to me. It doesn't make me feel like, wow, you know what? A couple of bad breaks. They would have been, they weren't very good all year. So very inconsistent. He hasn't made the postseason for 3 straight seasons with the Penguins.
Yeah, and let me tell you, that roster is not a bad roster.
So I'm looking at it and going, okay, you're going to inherit a team that has some talent.
Yeah.
In New York, but you had similar talent in Pittsburgh, and you were unable to do that.
Arguably better talent in Pittsburgh.
Right. So again, very good career overall, if you look at it, but he had a big chunk of it early, right? Since 2017, I think they won the Stanley Cup with the Penguins. 917 games, 479, 311, and 59% win percentage. You look at it and you go, wow, that's pretty good. He's 47 and 42 in the postseason. So it's not like this drastic, holy cow. He had 2 good years where they went back to back. Other than that, he's usually out in the first round of every matchup.
Yeah. Yeah. And like I said, and this is why I compared them to the Bruins, Eric, because they're very similar. They were very similar teams, period.
Yeah. You get in the postseason and then you choke.
Goaltender, one defenseman.
Yeah, he had not gotten out of the first round since 2017. That's 7 years.
Yeah.
3 of those, he didn't even make the postseason, and the other 4, he got bounced in the first round. So it's not like he's a winning coach.
And and I'm sorry, but their only good defenseman to me is Fox. And he had a down year just like McAvoy did. And I just look at these teams and it's like, all right, let's see whose direction was better. And I don't see it getting better for the Rangers next year. I don't see that. I think they're going to have the same problems.
Yeah.
And now everybody else is going to be catching up to them again. They could end up where the Bruins are right now.
The only thing I would say is they got the goaltender. Yeah, I think Shesterkin is obviously one of the top 5 in the league today. Again, he had an off year. You get some of that pieces to come together, maybe at that point, but I just don't know if this is a winning coach. To me, I'm not saying he's horrible, but I don't think it's a championship level coach. If that's what the Rangers were ultimately looking to do, this isn't the guy that's going to get it done.
Yeah, I mean, what are they going to do? They're going to have to sign a defenseman. They're going to have to sign, a forward, most likely a center, because let's face it, when you look at the powerhouse teams in the Eastern Conference, they're loaded at center. You got to contend with Austin Matthews and his crew. You have to worry about Tampa Bay because obviously they're still good, and same thing with Florida, Carolina, and next year New Jersey's going to be healthy, maybe, so where are they going to improve?
Yeah.
And that is the problem. And that's why I think maybe the Bruins were right to dismantle, because maybe in a couple of years,
the talent matter. Yeah, I agree with you.
It's not going to matter now because, they're just not good enough to win a Stanley Cup. They're not going to get anywhere.
Yeah.
If you just keep squeaking in and making a wild card, that's not how you go about winning a Stanley Cup.
You are right.
That's not how you do it.
You are correct, sir. All right, Ron, let's have a little fun. Do you know, Ron, which team Mike Sullivan coached before the Pittsburgh Penguins?
Wow, why do I want to say it was the Boston Bruins?
It was the Boston Bruins.
Yeah.
But
it seems like so long ago.
Yes, but it happened twice.
Yeah, I know.
He coached in 03-04 and then 05-06.
Yeah.
And there was a gap in between there. So, Mike Sullivan, former Boston Bruins coach, before he went on to that run with the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Yeah, I don't know who I'd want as a head coach these days. it's hard because nobody stays long enough in one place to matter anymore.
Yeah, sports has changed. Gordon Bombay, played by Emilio Estevez. He won.
Gordon Bombay. Oh, that's great.
He
Oh,
won.
I love it.
That is great.
Yes, I would take that right now, Danny. I would take that.
Well, we'll have to see if Emilio Estevez is available.
Eric, it's going to be a former Bruin. It's going to.
Yeah, I think they're going to go that route again. Yeah.
I think it'll probably be Chara or Bergeron will be the head coach, depending if there's a general manager spot open in the organization.
Yeah, it's not going to be pretty for the Boston Bruins. All right, Ron. It is time for pick and roll.
It's time for pick and roll.
All right, episode 18 in the nick of time. Our pick and roll this week. NFL 99. So all these players were 99 in their career. 9 plus 9 equals 18. And that is Aaron Donald, J.J. Watt, Warren Sapp, Jason Taylor, Mark Gastineau, and Dan Hampton. We're going to rank them from 6 to 1.
Why is it 99? Why not 18?
99. 9 plus 9. 18. So, some really good players here. Honestly, this was a little harder for me than I thought it was going to be.
This was a great group of players.
So, at 6 and no slouch was Dan Hampton, 157 games, 82 sacks, 4 Pro Bowls, 1 All-Pro. Obviously, the championship with those 85 Bears. But again, great player. But the least amount of sacks of all the guys on this list, so I put him at 6. They didn't track tackles back then.
No.
At 5, I had Warren Sapp. Played 198 games, 96.5 sacks, 440 tackles, 19 forced fumbles, 7 Pro Bowls, 4 All-Pros, 1 AP Defensive Player of the Year, 1 PFWA Defensive Player of the Year, and 1 championship.
Bobby Boucher's here.
Bobby Boucher.
He's cutting the grass.
At 4 for me, I had Mark Gastineau. I wish he had played more games, but his numbers, if you think about it, he played 137 games. He had 107.5 sacks. So that's pretty darn good. 5 Pro Bowls, 3 All-Pros, 1-time UPI Defensive Player of the Year. So I went Gastineau at 4. Jason Taylor came in at 3 for me. Played the most games out of all of these guys with 233. So his numbers to me were a little skewed. 139.5 sacks, 536 tackles, 46 forced fumbles, 6-time Pro Bowler, 3-time All-Pro, 1-time AP Defensive Player of the Year, and 1-time PFWA Defensive Player of the Year. At 2, I went J.J. Watt. Again, 151 games, so 80 less games than Jason Taylor. Had 114.5 sacks, 449 tackles, 27 forced fumbles, 5-time Pro Bowler, 5-time All-Pro, 3-time AP Defensive Player of the Year, 3-time PFWA Defensive Player of the Year, 3-time Sports Nation Defensive Player of the Year, and a 1-time Burt Bell Award winner, which I had to look up because I had never realized that that's the NFL's Player of the Year for the entire league, which I was blown away by that. At number 1, though, I went Aaron Donald. 154 games, 111 sacks, 340 tackles, 24 forced fumbles, but a 10-time Pro Bowler, 8-time All-Pro, 3-time AP Defensive Player of the Year, 2-time PFWA Defensive Player of the Year, 2-time Sports Nation Defensive Player of the Year, and the 1-time champion. Put him ahead of J.J. Watt for me with the championship. So that was my list.
It's pretty close to mine. I had Dan Hampton at number 6, and I truly believe the only reason why he's there is because they didn't keep the numbers like they do now.
Because I'm sure he probably 400 or 500 tackles.
Probably. So I had him at number 6. I had Mark Gastineau at number 5. Again, no tackle numbers.
Yeah.
So I mean, I do love those numbers, though. Let me tell you. 137 games, like you said, 107 and a half sacks. That's pretty good.
That's damn impressive. So even if you put Warren Sapp ahead of him, that's what I'm saying. Warren Sapp, 60 more games. He had more sacks. So
and
you
I
add 60 games to Gastineau, he's probably pushing 150.
Yeah, and I agree with that. But I put Warren Sapp ahead of him because he had a championship. And I think with Warren Sapp, his numbers probably could have even been better, but teams avoided him at all costs. So everything on the offense always went the opposite direction of where Warren Sapp was. And that in itself makes it impressive. So I gave him a little bit of an edge on that. He was a menace. Number 3, I went Jason Taylor. I love this guy's numbers. I mean, I remember him coming in with Miami, and I was fearful of him every single time they played him.
Brady
every
said it
single
was one
time.
of the worst players to face.
139 and a half sacks, 500 plus solo tackles, 46 forced fumbles, which is by far the best on this list. 8 interceptions, the best on the list. 9 touchdowns, the best on the list. He actually held the record. I think he holds the record for fumble recovery touchdowns. I think he's got 6 of those, and I think that is an NFL record. Fumble recovery touchdowns. 29 fumble recoveries, period. I mean, which is crazy. 6 Pro Bowls, 3 All-Pro, 1 Defensive Player of the Year, Hall of Famer Jason Taylor. Number 2, I believe you might have had the same 2 at top. Number 2, J.J. Watt, right?
3, 4, and 5. Yeah, we just flipped 4 and 5.
Yeah. So J.J. Watt, my number 2, pretty much, it's amazing how great of a player he was without winning a Super Bowl, and I think a lot of that is injuries in the final games of the season, and he missed a lot of playoff opportunities. And I mean, he's a phenomenal player. What a beast he was. 17 fumble recoveries. I mean, he was always around the ball. Always around the ball. Wherever the ball was, you'd find J.J. Watt somewhere. He's in there. 5 Pro Bowls, 5 All-Pro, 3 Defensive Player of the Year, tied with my number 1, Aaron.
Aaron, yes, sir. I knew it was coming.
Like, I mean, he's a special player. I'm looking at the numbers, and yeah, maybe J.J. Watt has a little more of those numbers, but he doesn't have that Super Bowl ring like Aaron does. 10 Pro Bowls, more than anybody. 8 All-Pro, more than anybody on this list. 3 Defensive Player of the Year and Defensive Rookie of the Year. On top of that, I mean, this guy is a Hall of Famer. He's going in.
He's going in.
First ballot.
Yes, sir. Agreed.
When is he eligible? In like 2 years?
Yeah, he's been out. So 5 years out of the league. So it'll be about another 3 years.
I mean, this guy was incredible.
Yeah. Phenomenal player, Aaron Donald. Yep, we both had.
They all are. They're all great players.
Yeah. Listen, Dan Hampton was no slouch, even at 6. It was a good list. These are some great players.
Can you imagine all these guys on the same roster?
And I didn't realize how good Gastineau was. If you think about it, we talk about in hockey a point a game. Like 30 games, he didn't get a sack. That was it. Yeah. Like out of his whole career. Like you think about 100.
Yeah, and I bet you if you look at it, it was probably, games that were early in his career and probably games late in his career where, he's getting a little more rest.
Yeah, no, without a doubt. So that was a fun list. These are great
players. They're all great players.
Ron, before we get into our predictions, did you want to bring up the Hall of Fame?
All right. Here we go.
All right. So we are currently, polls are open for our next candidate to be inducted into the Sports Unfolded Hall of Fame. For the NHL right now, Yamir Yaga, Theo Fleury, Teemu Selanne, Mark Recchi, and Pavel Bure. You can join the Sports Unfolded Sports poll page and cast your votes. These individuals are elected by the fans. So you will help elect the next NHL player into the Sports Unfolded Hall of Fame, as well as for baseball. Jack Morris, Roger Clemens, Fernando Valenzuela, Yao Ming for sure. Look at Yao. Fernando Valenzuela, Nolan Ryan, and Oral Hershiser.
I know who Danny's voting for.
All great pitches. But cast your votes. Join the Sports Unfolded Sports Poll page on Facebook to cast your votes to help induct the next player into the Sports Unfolded Hall of Fame.
Now, it's interesting because I look at those baseball players. Now, if I recall, Danny is an LA Dodger fan, which you would think he would vote for Fernando Valenzuela, but he just said he spends a lot of time with Nolan Ryan. So that should be an interesting
one. Or Hershiser.
Yeah, Oral Hershiser too. That's right. He is a Dodger.
James, thanks for joining. All right, Ron. Let's get into our predictions. Last week, 5-2, 3-4 for you, 2-4 for Danny. So we're back up 4-game gap between the two of us right now. But it's going to be interesting. It's going to be looks like a very close year. 18.
Yeah, I'm not
episodes in.
I think we're both doing terrible.
Yeah, we're not doing as well as we normally do. So if you are live with us, please give us your picks on these games, and we will add your numbers to the chart. And we're starting off in the NBA, Ron. Tonight, you got the Houston Rockets at the Golden State Warriors, Game 6. Warriors up 3-2. I don't have confidence in the traveling Rockets, young team. Just still haven't been able to figure out how to beat them. So I went Golden State here.
Yeah, I went Golden State as well. Look, in order for Houston to win this series, they have to win tonight. And I can't see them winning in San Francisco. I don't think it's going to happen. I can't see it.
Yeah.
There's no way you're going to go into Steph Curry's house and eliminate him in Golden State, right? I just don't. I don't see it.
Yeah. James said Golden State. Not sure if Danny's still on.
I'm sure he is. Danny,
right.
If you're out there, let us know who you pick, Houston or Golden State.
Tomorrow, Ron, NBA action. You got the Los Angeles Clippers at the Denver Nuggets, Game 7, must win. Best words in sports, Game 7, man. So who comes out of this?
I'm going to go with Denver. And I think, first of all, he played a great game in Game 6. And that's Harden, right? But going by his track record in Game 7s, I'm going to go Denver on this one.
Yeah, listen, I agreed with you. I don't have confidence that the Clippers predominantly have not been a good team in Game 7s, closeouts. I think Denver, with that, Jokic and what he's able to do, creates a mismatch, and he's not going to want to lose in front of his crowd 2 years in a row. So I really feel like Denver is going to play extremely hard. All right, NHL playoffs. Tonight, you got the Winnipeg Jets at the St. Louis Blues, Game 6. Jets up 3-2. I think they had their hiccup. They tied it, right? The Blues came back, tied it up 2-2. I think Winnipeg comes into St. Louis and wins this series because they are the far superior team.
I think they do as well, Eric. Look, It's been a great run for St. Louis, but I mean, the talent is just so overwhelming. I mean, you got to think that Winnipeg is going to pull this out. You know, I mean, I'm not, I'm a little scared with this one because Winnipeg history, but
Yeah, President's Cup jinx. We talked about it, but I just think that they have the lead. I think they're going to understand that they cannot let it go to Game 7.
James went with the St. Louis
St.
Blues.
Louis. I mean, it's not a bad pick. It really isn't.
It
It's gonna be
isn't.
a fun one. All right, tomorrow, Ron, the Colorado Avalanche at the Dallas Stars, Game 7, which we expected.
What a series!
What a series!
What
This
a
has been fun.
series!
This has been a fun.
And a crappy goal to win Game 6 for Colorado off of it was like a bouncing puck, and it bounced all over the place, and it bounced off the shoulder of a Dallas Star and into his own net. That's crazy. It's crazy. I'm going Dallas at home. Wow, this is a tough one. This is tough. This would have been a great Stanley Cup.
Mm-hmm. I also went Dallas. I think they have the better goaltender. I think it's
Yeah.
I think that both teams are going to be very tight. I don't think this is going to be a high scoring game, and I like the chances that Dallas can stop more shots than.
I'm going to say Rantanen gets the game winner.
Just to go against his old team.
It always happens. I mean, when you think about it, it's just given. It's written in the story.
May already. May 5th, you got the 3-game series, the San Diego Padres at the New York Yankees. I went San Diego here. The Yankees, a lot of injuries, and I think it's going to affect them in some ways. The bats, Jazz Chisholm now out as well. Stanton we just talked about. So I'm starting to feel like their lineup might get a little light.
Yeah, I'm going Yankees despite that because I truly believe that if I go Yankees, they lose.
Which means I win. I take it.
Right. I can give one.
Okay. All right. I appreciate that. Thank you, sir. That is very kind of you. James, what do you got? I think he's looking for a Padres.
Yeah, he's looking it up.
All right. Yankees. Oh, wow. I guess they don't like either team.
It took him a while.
May 4th, UFL action. You got the DC Defenders at the Michigan Panthers.
Yeah, I know Michigan's at home and everything, but I'm going to go with DC. I just think DC is a better team. They're 4-1.
Mm-hmm. Michigan's
3-2. I don't buy that 3-2 though.
Yeah, DC best record in the UFL. Has been the best competing team so far this season. So I'm going DC as well. I agree with you. Panthers. James going all home teams. All home teams. All right, Ron. May 4th. May it be with you, my friend. May 4th. Worth 400 in Texas. We need a top 5 driver. We did not do well last week. Both our drivers finished 36th and 37th. They weren't even in the race. They ended up.
Who did I go with?
I don't remember now. Last week you went with Ryan Blaney.
Ryan Blaney. I'm going to go with Ryan Blaney. I'm going to double down on him. And because I think he's going to bounce back. There's no way he's not going to make top 5 this time.
All right.
No way.
All right. I'm going Tyler Reddick. He's won this race. 3 top 5 finishes in the last 5 races. So Tyler Reddick for me.
Okay.
All right. Let's see if James has one.
I'm surprised Danny didn't stick for this.
Yeah, I know. Doesn't want to ruin his record.
What was his record?
I don't remember.
He was positive,
He
wasn't
says
it?
positive. Set House Jr. Ricky
Stenhouse. Ricky
Yeah.
Stenhouse.
Got it.
I don't know what Set House is, but
Hey, got it, James. All right.
well,
Tune
if you're
in
gonna
next
have
week.
a house, you might as well have a Stenhouse,
House.
right?
Join us next week to see how you did on your predictions, James. Ron, before we get into our final thoughts, every week we allow you some time to tell all the wonderful people out there how they can become a sponsor of Sports Unfolded and have their ad read and posted all over our web.
I think I could do that, Eric.
The
I think
floor
I
is
could.
yours. The floor is yours.
All right. It's very easy. All you have to do is sponsor the show, and your ad will be here. We will read the ad, so not only will people see it, but it will be heard on the audio version for Spotify, Amazon, Red Circle, and many more. So send us an email at ribroadcasting.media@gmail.com. We can send you out the whole kit and caboodle. So that way you can get all the information you need. And Eric, like I say every single week, it's just like going to your local coffee shop. Ooh. that was a little weird. I was in thought and I was going to say something else.
Yikes.
Just go to your local coffee shop and grab a strawberry what the hell they called smoothie. You can get a strawberry smoothie with a chocolate eclair. I still like that chocolate strawberry thing. You know, I like that chocolate strawberry thing.
That's a good combo.
And it costs less than that. Less.
So take some time, email us. We'll give you all the information. Thousands of eyes and ears on your business every week.
Absolutely.
So, Ron, let's take once again some time to thank some of those out there that have helped contribute to our show growing. 99.1 FM WDJY in Dallas, Georgia. Thank you for the support every Saturday at 1 p.m., as well as 990 WBOB in Providence, Rhode Island on every Saturday at 10 a.m. in Providence, Rhode Island, and SECTV Public Access Channel 12 on every Tuesday night at 10 p.m. Eastern Time in Southeast Connecticut. Thank you for the support. All three of you have been amazing in helping us grow. With that, Ron, it is final thoughts time, and our final thoughts don't necessarily have to be about anything sports related. It can be about anything that's going on in the world today. But today, I wanted to just take some time to give some advice to somebody who's been in our lives for many, many years now, Ron. And that's one Mr. Bill Belichick. Bill, I understand why you're doing what you do. You know, you're a 73-year-old man, 24-year-old girlfriend. It seems like everything's great. But we're getting to a point in this relationship that it's getting a little awkward. And it's creating people to have doubts about your own sanity and what you're doing. And I don't know if at some point you really have to look at the whole situation and say, maybe this is probably not the best scenario for me to go out. You know, I think she's in charge of all the media things now. There was an interview the other day with CBS where she basically shut it down because they asked how they met. So it's just gotten to a point where it's this relationship. There's a lot of former players weighing in and his family and people that knew him that I think let's stick to football, Bill. You are a very private person and we didn't learn a lot about you. And now all of a sudden it's like everything's out there and it's not a pretty picture. So again, I hope you're happy, but I really would try to keep things less involved with your significant other and allow them to just be a significant other and not part of your business. Because it is getting extremely, it's just strange. It's a strange situation. So
awkward.
Yeah, just a little bit. But that's my final thoughts. Bill, take that advice.
Very good. That was well said, Eric. hopefully he heeds your warnings.
I don't think he will. But they've been together for 4 years.
Yeah, I know, it's
which
crazy.
means she was like 19, 20 when they met.
She
But
really
anyway,
wants that money, Eric. She really wants.
10 more years or so, she might be in. She's got a shot. Yeah.
All right, so I have a couple of final thoughts.
Wow.
My first final thought goes to RIFC, right here in Rhode Island, soccer team. Look, they just opened their new stadium. And let me tell you, it looks really nice. It's really nice. It fits about 10,000 people, and it's right by the river. It looks wonderful, wonderful. So hopefully fans continue to go out to the soccer games. I might check one out. I'm actually hoping that they let us like be there with press passes and everything. That's what I'm hoping for. And I think it could happen, Eric. It could happen. So I just want to congratulate them on the new stadium, and hopefully they're going to be there for many, 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 many more years. Unlike those Paw Sox. But my second and final thought goes out for Pop, right? A lot of years in the game, you made the game better. And I know Eric loves him as a head coach. He's probably one of the best coaches in all sports. And he really impacted this game, with everything that he did. And we're gonna miss him as a head coach, but hopefully he lives a long, long life in retirement and enjoys it. And hopefully he gets on some sports channels. So more than welcome to come on here and talk to us and you at home. So thank you so much for your wonderful coaching career, Pop.
Well said, Ron. Well said. So I want to thank all those that have joined us live tonight. James, thank you. Danny, as always, you guys are amazing. Thank you for always being a supporter of Sports Unfolded. Tell your friends about it. Like, share, and follow our show on all our social media platforms, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, MeWe. We are everywhere. We continue to grow. So continue to grow with us. Bring some friends along. Love to see you join us every Friday night at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So tune in then and make sure that you comment. Ron, it's been a pleasure tonight. Thank you so much. And I want to just say that every single show, all we ever ask for is that we finally get peace on earth.
Have a great night, everybody.